We're going to do this presentation in two segments. I'm going to do basically the history of Masaji, how it came to be. That'll take just 5-10 minutes. And then we're going to get Ori mic'd up, and he'll give you the testing because he actually was very involved in sending the Masaji out to Brunswick Laboratory and to Dr. Bell to have it tested, and he will share with you the results that we got back. So if we kind of roll back history here a little bit at Be Young and learn more about the beginning of Masaji, it was something that I didn't want to do in the very beginning. Everyone has a super antioxidant drink in the industry, basically. From the airport 96 miles north of us here down to us, there's about 150 different multi-level marketing companies, and everyone has a super antioxidant jungle juice drink. And so I don't want to do that. I'm into essential oils. We're good to go. Let them do it. I'll just play with my essential oils. But I continue to get requests from our sharing partners that we really needed to have a super antioxidant drink because everyone was really buzzing about these here super jungle juice drinks. And as I continue to work with the essential oils, and as my knowledge continued to grow over the past 20 years on essential oils and the human body, I always had this belief system that there is no silver bullet, that we need to make sure that we have multiple things to help the body to maintain optimal health. And so it became quite evident to me eventually that we really needed to have a super antioxidant drink. But if I was going to do one, it had to be the best in the marketplace. And so I thought, well, I'll take some time and do my due diligence and just kind of look at what's out in the marketplace, see what the buzz is, see what people are using, just kind of get an idea and kind of look at the quality. And so I started doing that. I started looking at different companies, what they were doing, and we saw companies that were really hanging their hat on one or two products in their drink. For example, acai was one company, not one company, but one product that several companies would use, and that's what they'd hang their hat on. And so acai, it's a great thing. Other companies, it was mangosteen, and other companies, it was the wolfberry or GAC or marine phytoplankton, or you name it. They'd hang their hat on a single berry or a single superfood, and that's what they would promote. And usually that superfood was quite diluted in the bottle, and I wasn't really impressed with some of the formulations that we were looking at. And so I started going through and researching each one of these here different foods or berries or juices that were available on the market. And I started getting very excited about some of them because of their properties. You take, for example, the acai. Wow, testing coming back from Brunswick Laboratory, 25,000 on the ORIC scale. That was unheard of, a super juice. And then as we continue to progress and look at the different other berries and juices, I could start to see that if we really wanted to have something that was unique in the marketplace, that would actually create a super change in the body, we needed to step up to the plate and literally put together multiple of these juices, not just one, and hang our hat on that. And so I started writing down a formula as I was doing my research of what I'd like to have in this drink. And I put together a fairly extensive formula, and then one day a friend of ours called me and says, "Hey, Dana, have you ever heard of the maqui berry or maqui?" There's two different ways to pronounce it. And I said, "No, I've never heard of that." He said, "You need to look into it. It comes from Patagonia, and the people down there are one of the longest life expectancies of the 4 groups in the world today." I said, "Wow, even more than the Hunzaland people." He said, "Oh, yeah. Hunzaland, the Patagonian people, the Navajo Indians, and the Okinawan Asians, Japanese, 4 longest longevity groups in the world." And so instantly I started studying the maqui berry. And I tell you what, I became very excited because it was 3 times more powerful than acai. And I thought, wow, we've got to have this berry in there. So we were one of the very first to actually introduce the maqui berry to this region and to multi-level marketing. Now a lot of them have picked it up and started using it. But guys, I'll tell you what, the maqui berry that comes right from Patagonia is a lot different than the maqui berry that comes in from China and other places. A lot of change when it starts getting moved around the world. But I was really impressed with that berry. And so I put the formula together, and I was so proud of it. Sent it up to a chemist to look it over, and he looked it over, and he says, "Wow, this is quite a formula." He says, "I've done formulations for Tahitian Noni and Monavi and Via Vinte and a bunch of these other companies." He said, "This is really a power-packed formula." He said, let me warn you, it probably won't taste very good." And I said, "You got to be kidding me. You got acai, maqui, you got mangosteen, you got Arona berry, you got raspberry, kiwi. I mean, it's got all kinds of blueberry, bilberry. Man, it's clear full of stuff. It ought to taste awesome. No, in this kind of concentration, it's going to taste pretty bad. As well, can you make some up for us? I'll send you up what I have, and can you source some other ingredients that I don't have? And he says, sure. So we brought him up our base, and he put the other ingredients in it, and we tested out. Oh, he was right. Tasted absolutely horrid. I mean, it was so bad, there was no way that you could drink it. And then I remember pushing it away, and I sat there and looking at it, and I was really frustrated because it's 9 months of work to get this research together to make this drink. And I'm sitting there looking at it and thinking, well, that's why all the other companies have these drinks, and they tell everybody that it's gonna grow hair on cement. It's so good. And the reason they do that is because it tastes so horrible that you have to really pump it up so people will drink it no matter how bad it tastes. And I turned to Cammie and I said, that's why I didn't want to do this. It's just too difficult. And so we gathered up all our stuff and started heading back to home office about 97, 98 miles away. And as I was going, I was thinking about it. And when I'm thinking and processing a problem, I'm kind of quiet. And Cammie's talking to me, and she's, and I'm trying to block her out so I can continue to think about the formula and why it would taste so bad. And then she said something about made me drive off the road. And the little thing she said that was so powerful is, she says, Dana, maybe it's just like the essential oils. If you change the order in which you put the oils together, it changes the final outcome. And I went, whoa. And man, I about got a speeding ticket getting back to our lab here in Nephi. We took the exact same ingredients, we changed the order, and wow, we came with the flavor that we have for Masaji now. Our biggest challenge with Masaji is that people want to drink more than they need. 1 ounce is all you need to meet your daily requirements, and it fulfills that very, very, very well. But it tastes so good. Most people, instead of using the shot glass to measure it, they just kind of look at it and chug, 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 and put it back down. That was good. Chug again. And so they go through it quite fast. And that's fine. Our marketing department, we don't mind that at all. But I tell you what, it is a very powerful, super antioxidant drink that is completely balanced and fortified. When I say fortified, because of the grouping of natural whole food products that we put into this, it is fortified to give you a beautiful balance across the free radical groups. And that testing proved to be true. And so we're very proud of this drink. The way we actually came up with the name is we sat down and we wrote the top 3 ingredients right on the board. Makwee, acai, and goji. We just wrote it on the board. And then we took 2 letters from each word, and we put it together, and we came up with Makwee. And so I thought, wow, that's pretty cool, our Masaji. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. So I quickly looked it up, and in the Anglo-Saxon dictionary, Masaji means something of worth, goodness of the earth. We thought we'd made the word up, but it was already there in the Anglo-Saxon dictionary. It is also a surname of a Japanese family in Japan, and a very famous Japanese family. Father and son were both kamikaze pilots in the Second World War, so they were quite a famous family. But that's the background and history behind Masaji. I knew it was going to be a powerful product when we put it out there. Literally, you can feel the difference after you drink it within just a matter of a day or so. Pains and things like that you have going on in your body start to subside, especially knee pains and things. Excellent to get the free radicals scavenged out of your body. It's just kind of amazing all-around drink. And being that it tastes well, gives you the energy that you need. You don't need to go take a Red Bulls or a Monster. If you take a double shot of Masaji, man, you can feel it instantly because of the nutrients. It is super nutrient dense. And by being super nutrient dense, you get the full benefit of whole foods.
Masaji is one, and this, you hear this from all companies, but we feel pretty confident because as far as we're one of the few who have actually done testing to confirm what we know about Masaji. So our testing confirms that it is a super performance antioxidant drink. Not only do we know that it does scale really high on the ORIC scale, and we had it tested on 5 different free radical species. So the testing that was done is called the ORIC 5.0, just basically meaning 5 different free radical species, the most common free radical species. So what we'll do before we get going too far is we're going to queue up a video. The video will explain what exactly is a free radical, because that's really what this whole conversation is about. Masaji, antioxidants, it's all talking about a free radical species. They're also known as oxidative stress is also another term used to explain free radical species, or reactive oxidative species. So you'll hear it in those 3 different ways: oxidative stress, reactive oxidative species, and free radicals. The most common among consumers, people out, just shopping, is free radicals. It's kind of become the buzzword: free radicals and antioxidants. And there's a reason for it. But there's some key things that you need to know about free radicals and antioxidants, so you don't get taken advantage of by people just taking advantage of the marketing hype of a free radical or of an antioxidant. So let's first start by queuing up the video with free radicals. We have that ready to go. We'll go ahead and plop that in, and it will give you a good definition of what is a free radical, what is an antioxidant, and why are they so important.
We are products of our environment. Stress, diet, pollutants, illness or injury, and even exercise can create dangerous molecules within our bodies called free radicals. Free radicals are the natural product of oxidation. This essential life process can become deadly if uncontrolled. Through oxidation, molecules become unstable. They roam freely in our bodies in search of new electrons to stabilize themselves. They steal these electrons from healthy molecules, creating additional free radicals each time this occurs. They also cause membrane damage and an interruption to normal protein replication that can lead to unhealthy cellular regeneration. When left unchecked, excess free radicals cause significant harm and have been linked to as many as 90 different diseases. Fortunately, nature has provided a defense system. Antioxidants help our bodies repair cellular damage from the inside out. Because they are equipped with spare electrons, antioxidants can give free radicals what they need, stabilizing them before they damage healthy cells. Increased antioxidant intake has been shown to reduce free radical levels and improve overall health. You'll never eliminate free radicals entirely. They're a natural part of living in our environment. You can, however, return to nature and find a healthy balance with Be Young Total Health.
So from that video, and we have that video available at bythtools.com. There's actually a lot of resources there, so I'd encourage you to go and check that out. But from that video, I hope it helps identify what exactly a free radical is. We'll spend just a little bit more time talking about free radical and antioxidant. And another molecule that's fairly important that not a whole lot of people talk about, but is just as detrimental and deadly, if not more than a free radical. So from the video, you see that a free radical is basically an unstable molecule. What makes the molecule unstable is hundreds of different things. But the most basic is the fact that it's unbalanced. It doesn't have a full outside electron. It used to be called an electron cloud. In recent chemistry, they've changed it to be called an orbital. Just basically means that it doesn't have all the electrons needed to be considered balanced. And so it has more protons, neutrons, and electrons, which causes it to not be happy. When it's not happy, it goes and searches for a way to become happy. And so what it does is it robs from someone who was happy, another molecule per se, and makes it unbalanced. Typically, the molecules that it robs from is your DNA, protein, and fats, which is bad because if you look at your DNA, that's what it's completely made up of, is proteins and fats. And so it's going to target your DNA most, and that's very dangerous, especially when we talk about certain terms like cancer or autoimmune disease or different diseases. In fact, free radicals have been connected to over 90 different diseases. Some of the top diseases that we can talk about that's connected directly to free radical damage is cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, autoimmune disease, obesity. All those are directly connected right to your free radical, which if we look at the top killers in America today, we just named all 5 of them connected right back to your free radical species. So if we break it down to the root, and if we want to talk about preventative health, what we need to talk about is understanding how to counteract the problems of our environment, which our environment just produces free radicals by the millions. So what we'd like to do is we'll go ahead and pull open the PowerPoint here, and we'll go ahead and start into the Masaji presentation. While that's coming up, I want to talk to you about one other thing. It's called a SAM unit, which breaks it down into an S-adenosyl methionine or something like that. Basically what it is it's an amino acid group coupled with some enzymes. But what ends up happening is this molecule is directly responsible to rebuild damaged DNA. It's actually a radical species. And it's even more radical than a lot of the free radical species. But what ends up happening is when a free radical gets introduced into, say, a DNA and it damages it, a SAM unit comes along and it actually goes through a process to make it even more of a radical species to create the type of enzyme actions it needs to break down and repair the DNA, which is a good thing. Body has a natural defense. Here's the bad thing, is if you are deficient in folic acid, vitamin B6, and vitamin B12, then that SAM unit that's repairing your DNA does not get a termination process, which basically means it stops from being a radical species, and it continues to do damage in the body. So what we got to understand is that we need to terminate the free radicals, but we also need to look at health on a broad spectrum. And on that broad spectrum, we got to talk about, you know, things that help to terminate the continual deterioration of molecules. So vitamin B6 is huge, vitamin B12 is huge, and folic acid is huge. And you might be asking, well, why are you bringing this up on Masaji? Well, the reason we're bringing it up on Masaji is because Masaji is loaded with vitamin B6, vitamin B12, and folic acid. From the spirulina, the algae, the phytoplankton, all those things together synergistically make it very powerful in offering those types of vitamins to the body. So what we have is a super antioxidant drink that's loaded with the core essential vitamins needed to terminate processes of oxidative stress and damage from a free radical species and from the body's natural defenses from those SAM units. So let's just jump right in and talk about Masaji. So what we did is we wanted to confirm that Masaji was a high-performing antioxidant drink. We had said that from the get-go. We felt it was from the get-go. I mean, how can it not be when you look at the amount of ingredients that are in it? You can see a list of all those ingredients in that product guide that was sent out. You just simply look, I think it's on page 4, and it's going to give you a rundown. But it is jam full of super performing fruits. And so naturally, we knew we had something good. But we sent it in to get it tested. And we wanted to confirm that it actually was a superior antioxidant drink. And from the testing, it did confirm that. It confirmed that it's a superior antioxidant performance. And probably the most important of all is that it's balanced. And you might be asking, well, what does that mean? Why is that so important? A lot of antioxidant drinks are a good antioxidant drink for 1, maybe 2 free radical species. There is 5 or 6 free radical species nowadays that have been identified that cause problems in the body. So if you have a good antioxidant drink that provides protection against, say, 1 or 2, then you still have the other 2, 3, possibly 4 free radical species wreaking havoc in your body that you're not accounted for. And then you have to try to supplement that with something else. Masaji provides a balanced protection against 5 of the primary free radical species. In fact, it provides superior performance against 4 and then above average on the 5th, which is really unheard of in the market. And we're going to show you some things, how they compare. All the research coming from here, though, that we're talking about, this has come right from Bell Advisory, who is an advisor to Brunswick Laboratory. We sent in our testing from Brunswick to them, and they provided the content for these PowerPoints. And so what you're getting is straight from a research facility, not necessarily straight from B. Young, but we were super excited about it. So as we continue on, we had testing as well done to prove that Masaji is safe and efficient at the cellular level, and that it is supportive to health benefits, and most importantly, the phytocompound diversity. So not only is it diverse and balanced, but it also has a well-balanced phytocompound as well. So as we continue on, to talk, to understand more about Masaji. So what Brunswick Laboratories does is they take Masaji and they test it against those 5 free radical species. But then we added a further testing called a cellular antioxidant assay, which basically what that does is it confirms that it protects the cell against free radicals and that it's safe. And so you'll see some of those results here shortly as well. As we compared Masaji to other leading antioxidant products, and we wanted to ensure that they were leading. We didn't want to show, oh, Masaji is great and it's better than these other 20 products. We wanted to make sure that we're comparing against the top end products, so you know that what you're seeing is the top end, not just the bottom end, so we can try to make it look better than it is. Masaji is compared against the top end. We're talking about top performing products such as Zango, Tahitian Noni, Monavi, and we're talking about leading fruits that it was tested against. And so this next page will kind of show you this. So as we look at the ORC 5.0 comparison, blackberries are at 49,000, blueberries are at 45,000, strawberries at 33, plums are at 30, raspberries at 27, oranges and so forth. And what's interesting about this is if you get to the far right of the page, you get down to the very least performing products. And it's interesting because the least performing products were what were used to be known as super antioxidant products. And it's interesting to see the testing on those to see that they're actually kind of low on that scale. But what's interesting about this is indicating, 49,000 units, and it's rated in what's called a U mole. That's how they rate antioxidants. But 49,000 is not necessarily showing a balance across the board. In fact, when you actually look at the blackberries, they only protect against maybe 1 or 2 free radical species, which we have that problem we just talked about. In addition to that, you got to eat 100 grams per day to get the 49,000 antioxidant protection from blackberries. That's a lot of blackberries every day. I can only eat so many of those before I'm going to be blackberried out. And so that's kind of what you see. And in addition to that, the interesting thing is if you look at blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, oranges, and apples, and you go to, there's a website called Environmental Work Group, EWG.org, I believe. You can be able to pull open the dirty 12 list or a whole list that shows the dirty 48. Apples, oranges, blackberries, and I believe strawberries rate in the top 48 for pesticide residue in it. So even though you're getting antioxidant protection, you're also getting pesticide residue within your body. And so if you don't source the right blackberries, the right oranges, the right apples, then you're going to be getting that pesticide residue, which has been linked to all of the diseases we mentioned earlier, because pesticides is one of the leading causes for free radical damage in the body. So this here, you guys should have the PowerPoint presentation, but this is pretty important. I want to show this so you can kind of get an idea of the comparison. So Masaji provides 58,000 antioxidants per ounce, which is a lot of antioxidants. 12,000 on the free radical species called pyridoxal, which is the one that's been most researched. That's what the original ORC testing was done on, is a free radical species called pyridoxal. But if you look down below, as we start getting into these, just a comparison, if you're familiar with any of these other antioxidant products, Monavi, Zango, Tahitian Noni. Tahitian Noni is kind of the pioneer as far as antioxidant drink. But if you kind of look at these and look at what you'd have to do comparatively, and once again, the research from here comes directly from Brunswick Laboratory, given to us by Bell Advisory. But if you look at this, you'd have to drink 16 ounces a day of Monavi, 20 ounces a day of their Monavi EMV. You'd have to drink 26 ounces a day of Zango and 36 ounces a day of Tahitian Noni to get the protection that you get from 1 ounce of Masaji. So, the far right column, you can see how it compares dollar to dollar. So $70 a month with Masaji or $1,600 a month with Tahitian Noni. It's really obvious, as far as we look at that you can tell that Masaji obviously is the better bang for your buck. And we also know that is efficient. And we'll get into that a little later in this presentation. So here's how Masaji breaks down. So pyridoxal, hydroxyl, pyridoxal nitrate, superoxide anion, and singlet oxygen. Those are all the different free radical species that it's tested against. Like I said, pyridoxal is the one that the original free radical, or the original ORC testing was done on. So it has the most research. But those are the 5 most common and most prominent free radical species studied today that have been connected to over 90 different diseases. Masaji rates really high in all of them. The one that's above average but not superior is the purioxyl nitrate, but that tends to be the free radical species that has the least amount of research on it and doesn't have as many things connected back. I'm not saying it's not as bad as the rest, because any free radical is not good, but we do have superior protection against the 4 primary and then above average on that 5th one. So the cellular efficiency. Now this is what I was talking about earlier. This is actually a really, really neat test that Brunswick Laboratory performs. So what they do is they actually take a live cell. And what they do is they take this live cell and they introduce Masaji to the live cell. So they actually inject it with Masaji and see how it reacts, how it responds, how much of the Masaji drink it can have before it becomes toxic to the cell. They were able to confirm that it was absorbed into the cell at non-toxic concentrations. But what's even more interesting is after it absorbs into the cell, they then introduce a free radical species to the cell, and they rate to see how well that antioxidant, in this case Masaji, performed to protect that cell. And so what they found is that Masaji scored in the top 4th quartile. So it's rated in 4 quadrants: quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Quadrant 4 is anything above 150 in the quadrant. Masaji rated at 175. So it's in that top end of the 4th quartile. So not only do we know that it has a lot of antioxidants, but now we know that it does actually absorb into the cell and that it actually does protect the cell. Now this is really important because earlier I said there's a lot of hype going on in the market about free radicals, about antioxidants. Here's the things that they don't tell you. Someone can come out and say our drink or our candy bar, because now you're finding antioxidants in everything, right? In your Hershey bar, in your McDonald's burger, everything's now saying antioxidants because they know it's the buzzword of the market. They could say it's got 1 million antioxidants, and you're thinking, man, I've never felt better eating a Big Mac because I have 1 million antioxidants. What they don't tell you is that product is only as good as the amount of antioxidants that get absorbed into the cell. And that's really important. So I'm going to repeat it. The product that you're consuming is only as good as the amount of antioxidants that absorb into the cell. And here's the reason why. Let's say you have 1 million units of antioxidants in that Big Mac that they're promoting, but only 2 units absorb into the cell. Guess how much that Big Mac is actually protecting you? 2 units. So you may be buying this high-end price product because it says 1 million antioxidants, but if they don't have the test and confirm how well it absorbs and if it protects the cell, then you may just getting a product that has antioxidants on the label, but you're getting garbage. So it's really important to understand how well does this product actually absorb, how well does it protect, and how toxic is it if it absorbs. So what we know is A, Masaji is non-toxic, it absorbs into the cell, and it protects the cell. It protects balance against 5 different free radical species, and its superior performance in the market. This slide here, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on. It's just going back and talking about different diseases that free radical species have been connected to. We've already talked about those. You can see some additional ones: hypertension, ischemic stroke, endometrial cancer. Things that. What's interesting is a lot of these things are things that doctors or specialists may say, oh, it's all in your head, such as an autoimmune disease. Well, it's not. It's not in your head. And if we understand the process of a free radical, in fact, let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about cardiovascular disease. So if you have hypertension or you have cardiovascular disease, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to first put you on a miracle drug called a statin drug, which solves everything. It's the miracle drug that solves all your problems and all your cares. It lowers your cholesterol. That's the main problem to cardiovascular disease is cholesterol, because if you get too much, then your arteries will plug and you'll have an embolism, and it'll go to your heart, to your brain, you'll have a stroke or a heart attack, and then lights out, right? Yeah, but before it got to that point, there was something that started that process. Your arteries are surrounded on the inside with a very smooth lining of what's called epithelial lining. It's epithelial cells. They're really thin, really smooth. Why is it so important they're smooth? Because your blood has platelets. Your platelets stick. If the lining of your artery was not smooth, then you'd have blood clots all the time. So it's super smooth. things don't stick to it, you don't have a problem with cardiovascular disease until something happens in that cell that changes it from replicating as smooth to rough. Well, what would cause that? Well, when a cell dies and it propagates into the two sister cells, then the DNA is responsible for that propagation process or for the division process. If the DNA was corrupted by, say, I don't know, a free radical or one of those SAM units that has gone, haywire, then the DNA is going to be corrupted, and when it replicates, it's not going to replicate as a traditional epithelial cell. It's going to replicate as a damaged epithelial cell. Now, that lining that was supposed to be smooth is now rough. And guess what sticks to things that are rough? Platelets, cholesterol, all those other pieces. And so if we were more focused on preventative care and preventing disease, then we wouldn't have to get to the point of statin drugs, which we could spend a whole hour on statin drugs and things that research has been done on reasons why it actually doesn't do what it says it does. But we won't do that. But just understand, once again, the importance to what we're trying to share is preventative health. And if we understand the importance of protecting against free radicals for these specific reasons, then we understand that it's not well, maybe Masaji is a good idea. Well, maybe NutriSmart's a good idea. It is a must-have in every home because it's a heck of a lot more expensive to treat cancer than it is to prevent cancer. And we can do that by being cautious of our environment and providing the tools for the body to repair itself. This is actually a really cool piece of information. So Dr. Pryor, it was the lead researcher for the USDA for antioxidant research. And over the years, anyone that's kind of been following antioxidants, you've kind of seen this going on in the market. Oh, you need 2,000 units of antioxidants per day. No, you need 5,000. No, you need 100. No, you need 10,000. There's just been all over the board. So what Dr. Pryor did is he pulled together a meta research from the past 10 years and basically said, okay, this is it. We are going to determine what you need to have every day of antioxidants. Obviously, he wasn't able to test against all 5 species, so he limited his research to just one, the pyroxyl free radical. Remember the free radical that was the first free radical tested on the ORC scale? He did that because it obviously has the most research. So through that meta research, what he was able to identify is that the average person needs to consume 12,000 units or more per day of an antioxidant that protects against pyroxyl. So 12,000 antioxidants that protects against pyroxyl. The average American only consumes somewhere between 4,000 and 8,000. 8,000 on people who are more mindful. 4,000 is probably more consistent for people who are less mindful. And the important thing to understand here as well is the amount of antioxidant protection that we used to get is about 1/8 of what it was 30 years ago. So if you were to consume an orange 30 years ago, you would receive 8 times the free radical protection than you would if you consumed an orange today. And so we're already at a deficit. And yeah, I mean, the amount of food you'd have to eat just to get to 12,000 units would almost be ridiculous. So if we continue on, this just shows, the difference. So you can try to consume, 300, 400, 500 grams of grapes and blackberries and strawberries and all those to get the protection you need, or you can take 1 ounce of Masaji. And once again, if you compare how many blackberries or oranges or grapes or apples you'd have to consume in a month, you'd be well over what it costs for 2 bottles of Masaji. So Masaji, 1 ounce, provides the daily recommended minimum protection against the pyroxyl group. Very important. So Masaji is comprised of many, many, many different ingredients. It's comprised of all sorts of types of fruits. It's comprised of marine phytoplankton. It's comprised of algae. It's comprised of olive leaf extract. It's comprised of, you name it, it's in it. It's got essential oils. It's got basically everything but the kitchen sink inside. And what that does is it provides a very balance across the phytocompound, a very diversity across that. So Why is that so important? Well, it's so important for a very simple reason, is it gets all these other important pieces, the aroma, the phenolic acids, the flavonoids, the PACs, the anthocyanins, all of these in and of themselves have been researched for large benefits in the body. And so because Masaji is so diverse in its product base, it provides protection that's balanced, it provides superior antioxidant support, and it provides a very diverse phytocompound, which means you're getting more than just an antioxidant drink. You're getting a superior antioxidant drink, and you're getting all of the phytonutrients necessary for your body to combat the damages of free radical production. So it's super important. But one thing to understand is your body's always under attack. You don't get a day off with free radical damage. If you go and drive your car and you breathe in the exhaust from the road, if you clean your house and you're using shampoo or conditioner, if you're putting Suave in your hair, if you're drinking water from your tap and you live in a city, it's going to have fluoride and chloride. If you're out driving in the country where the air is supposed to be just pristine, crystal clear, and beautiful, well, 2 days ago, a farmer probably sprayed pesticides, and guess what's floating around in the air that you're breathing in? Pesticides. You ate an apple from the store. Well, guess what that apple has in it? Pesticides. You're not going to escape it. In fact, the air we breathe is more toxic than it's ever been. Research is showing that every day the air we breathe exposes the average person to about 300 cigarettes, like the equal to 300 cigarettes. And so you're not going to escape it. And so if you think taking a day off is okay, you're wrong. It's important to always have a reservoir of antioxidants in your body so that when it comes under attack, it has the resources it needs to be able to combat what it's being attacked by. If you wait, it could be too late. The damage could have already been done. The cell is already replicated. And now you're going to start going into, more issues. And so it's really important to understand that an antioxidant is something that is not a one-time use. A lot of times with like an essential oil, let's say you pull the muscle, you're going to use that on that muscle until it gets better, and then you put it in the shelf until the next time you injured it, which is great. And we love essential oils because of the power that they are and because they are antioxidants themselves. But the luxury of that versus Masaji is that Masaji is something that needs to be used each day to give you the optimal protection. So once again, just to recap, proven broad spectrum, superior auric testing, proven cellular efficiency, meets your dietary intake for health benefits, and has an exceptional phytocompound diversity. Guys, that's our Masaji drink. Couldn't have been formulated any better than it is. We are very proud of it, and we're very proud to have it on the market to help you with your preventative needs.